Hello guys, my name is Jason D. Masiko, your real estate specialist. Today I'm here to bring to you the highlights of what happened on the dialogue between landlords and URA that happened recently. I happened to be there and I happened to be physically present to see what was going to happen on that day. I must tell you, this was the first time that landlords met with URA about the taxation on properties. There are things that like rental income tax, there are things like property taxes that landlords wanted to know. And I must say and give thanks to the Commissioner General about understanding that there's a need to actually meet with the landlords and to hear from them on what they think about the taxes and how much they want to get informed about it. So I'm going to just give highlights of what happened there, the things I happened to witness, one of the things that landlords were commenting about, and some of the things that the Commissioner General mentioned. And to start with, I'm going to start with a few things that I had landlords complain about and talk about. Some of them were, some landlords received messages from URA and they were inquiring, how does actually URA get to know how much they need to pay? Because some of them have never seen any URA tax agents on their property, but they have been receiving messages. They have been receiving messages that is asking 5 million, 7 million, 50 million. Sometimes, they are saying that you haven't paid tax for the last 7-10 years, and landlords have no idea. They have never seen anyone come on the property to actually ask anything concerning their properties. So that was one of the questions. And another thing, some landlords were really mad that they should have been proper preparations, because there are different landlords in this economy. There are those landlords that that have put up commercial properties. There are those landlords that have put residential properties. There are those landlords that have where you find my complex as a landlord only can probably receive about 50 million a month, 10 million a month, or even 1 million a month. And there are those that actually earn in billions of money. So, but this dialogue, everyone was called at the same time. So some landlords were complaining that this is a place that probably URA can organize and reach out to different landlords in different locations and visit them and actually teach them, speak to them and know the problems that they go through and all those kind of things. And another issue I had about, landlords commenting about was that even those that actually pay their taxes, the URA online portals sometimes change information automatically by themselves. Sometimes you have updated your ledger, but the next time you update it and probably open it, it has different figures. And here the Commissioner General accepted that they've been having challenges with their systems, but they are making them better every day that passes. So in the future, it's not going to be a problem anymore. And also landlords raised issues like tenants who go without paying, but still URA comes to demand the taxes on the rent, that thinks that these landlords received that money, but the other official organs are not helping the landlords, the likes of police, the likes of LCs, the likes of those community authorities, where they have issues with the tenants and they are not paying the money. They report to them, but they end up doing nothing. But at the end of the day, URA will want its taxes. It has no information if the tenant actually left without paying or with arrears and they were not paid, but URA will still come to demand. The other issue, were on how URA does not respond whenever a client needs a refund or a client is claiming for any other reason. URA takes long to respond to those queries, takes long to get back to them. But when URA is on the other side demanding money, on demanding interests and demanding all those taxes, they come in full swing. But when it is the client and the landlord probably looking out for URA to give a refund or get to them, they get no response, or they get late responses. This also the Commissioner General informed that they were going to actually work on it. Then there were other issues where the landlords think that the taxes are too high and they need to be reduced. In this, sometimes you find that URA has a threshold of probably the amount of deductibles that are going to be allowed on the tax that you're going to pay. So in this, some were complaining that they should be able to categorize different landlords differently, and even on the taxes that they should pay. Because if you just put a threshold of probably 20% on someone who earns 1 million and someone who earns 20 million and another person earns 50 million, this can be the tax can affect these different landlords differently. So there is a way that URA can actually do it if they get on the ground and speak with the landlords and apply the law and the taxation that they want on properties, and they arrange them, into categories where different landlords are actually treated differently. Because if I have a property that generates me 50 million a year, it's different from that landlord that actually accumulates 1 billion a year. But if we are all taxed, the same threshold, the same percentage, then it could actually, affect us who are operating in the economy. And of course, there were those landlords that said that they have no way and have no idea on how to use the online platforms that are on URA, portal. Some of them say that, we are not educated, we don't know how to use the internet, we don't even own a laptop or a smartphone, we have our small phone, but there's no way we can actually access, and we don't have even the money to hire tax agents to help us in this job. Because even tax agents, they say that, they fix and probably charge them a lot of money, which they actually don't collect. So some of them were saying if URA can actually have a section of those kind of landlords that won't be able to afford or be able to use the online platforms, they could set up a system where they know that probably if you have your houses and you're collecting this kind of money, then you're supposed to pay this money, this much, maybe per month or annually, so that they know that at the end of the month they need to pay this kind of money. If they have any issues with the tenants who have not paid any rent, or who have arrears, they have gone without paying, they can always go to URA and inform them that actually this money we have not received it, so this is how much we can only pay. So there were those landlords, and I believe that was a very, very important point, where there are some landlords who don't know. Myself, I've been struggling to actually use those tax things on online, because it's a lot to go through. Actually, it's a lot to go through. You have to get someone to actually take you through. You have to probably hire someone to take you through, and even you yourself, sometimes you do it, you make some mistakes, you correct yourself. It's not very easy. So imagine an old person who has some mizigo and probably getting about 200,000 a month. You're not going to tell them that you have to buy a laptop or you have to have a computer to actually go online and submit your returns, submit your files, and pay taxes. So those are the things that landlords were expressing, among others. If you follow me on my YouTube channel, if you follow me on my TikTok channel, I'll be posting those small videos of actually what people were complaining about, saying about the taxation system. You will happen to watch those small videos to understand the minds of the landlords behind this issue. So those are the things that landlords were actually complaining about. And if I could quote a few of the things that that were talked about as well, they were saying that if URA could actually spend some time into sensitizing the people about taxation, all these landlords I saw in this place, they were actually They are very ready to pay whatever taxes it is, but they have a mindset of, how tax agents are very harsh on them. They are very cruel to them. They do not give them time to even explain. All they care about is, making you pay. So they have no space to, for a dialogue, to discuss with the clients, to discuss with the landlords. And these are the things that landlords were mad about. But the Commissioner General promised that, they're trying to change the system. They have realized that for the last 10 years, they have been trying to do it a certain way, but they have realized that it doesn't work. The only way they can actually, make a difference is actually getting closer to these landlords and speak with them, explain to them, and actually have a relationship with them. And the Commissioner General still recorded an increase, that they actually achieved their target last year, which only on a property taxation they could only achieve about 100. I think it's about 100 billion or something like that. But he mentioned that this year they managed to achieve about 200 plus billion out of taxes. So there was a shift, and even after COVID, business is coming back again, and landlords are actually paying their taxes. So those are the things that I captured from the landlord part. Then there are things that the Commissioner General mentioned, which were very, very important. He mentioned that there were 3 kinds of landlords, and these kind of landlords, he said that the first landlord, there are those landlords that actually have no idea that they have to pay tax. They have their houses, they are collecting rent, but they have had no one ever come to them to tell them that you have to pay taxes. So they have no idea. But then out of, URA investigative system, you'll find that they know there's someone in a certain place who has, these kind of properties and getting rent out of them. So for them, they actually evaluate and actually start sending them messages. But you will find this landlord has no idea that they need to pay taxes. And I remember on that point, some landlord actually had a complaint that why does URA wait for 10, 5, 7 years to actually come to these landlords to tell them that you have areas of 50 million? Where have they been? Why have they not demanded this money for the last 7, 10 years? Why do they wait for 10 years to come against the landlords? So they say that it should be, it's our fault. Both of us have not been paying tax. But also you've not reminded me. You've not informed me. You've not talked to me about what I have to pay. So we are both in this. But if we can sit down and have a dialogue together and agree about a payment plan, then it's going to be easy for us to actually pay. So that was landlord number 1, who actually has no idea that they need to pay tax. Then landlord number 2 is a landlord that knows that they have to pay the tax, but they have no idea how they can actually do it. And this, the Commissioner General informed us that they are willing as URA to create a system and put aside a budget that is going to be there to sensitize people about paying the taxes. So if you're a landlord out there and you have no idea, you just have to walk to URA and inform them that I'm a landlord, I have my property, but I do not want to fall short or get in trouble with the law. So tell me how I can actually start to pay tax, and URA will help you to do that. Then there's a third landlord who actually knows that they need to pay tax, but they adamantly refuse to pay tax, and that is going to be bad for that kind of landlord, because the Commissioner General mentioned that it's just going to be a matter of time. But they are going to get to those kind of landlords who do not want to pay tax, and it's not going to really be nice. And he explained to us that it's very okay to actually support the economy that you're operating in. It will help us if we talk, if we have a dialogue together. It will help us understand from you, the landlord, what are the challenges that you go through? What are the things that you want us as URA to work on? And if they are informed, they are going to work on them one by one, bit by bit. Before you know, it's going to be a very smooth. And I must say on a personal note that, a taxman has never been, very easy to relate with. It has been in our culture, it has been in our system that whenever there is a taxman, he's more like an army guy, more like a police guy. But the Commissioner General informed us that they are trying to clean out their system, get closer to the people, not only in property but even in other businesses, trade and all that kind of stuff, where they need to get closer to the person, and they teach them what to do, they sensitize them on what to do, they inform them of the right things to do, and then they help them out to pay taxes. So with that kind of information, I believe that you can borrow one thing or the other on the things that I've mentioned in the dialogue that happened between URA and the landlords. If you're a landlord out there, I encourage you that it is not actually bad. You can move to URA if you have no idea about taxes, and they can help you out. There are things that you need to understand about taxation. Don't wait for 3, 5, 10 years when you have areas of about 100 million. It will be much easier now to actually discuss than when you are actually on the other wrong side of the road, when they are actually forcing you to pay money that sometimes maybe it's not even right. But if you actually have a dialogue with them now, it's going to be a very smooth journey between you and the law. So with those few comments and highlights of what happened at URA, thank you so much for always following my channel, for always sharing my content, for always liking. It doesn't cost you really anything to like and share this video. There are so many people who would like to get this information and they have nowhere to get it. But if you send it to your friend, to your brother, to your sister, to your relative, if they have a property and they have no idea what's going on, they can be helped through this kind of information. I manage property, I do consultancy, I advise anyone that is willing to invest in the real estate market. I work on commercial, residential and retail real estate. So if you would like to speak to me, to reach out to me, my numbers and contacts are going to be right on that video. There are so many things we can help each other on and discuss so that you can have a smooth journey if you're thinking of real estate. I stay Jason D. Masiko, your real estate specialist. See ya.